Hello my friends and welcome back to another Brotato Danger 5 run. Hope you're all doing well. Today we're going to be doing something a little different and I'm just going to play a completely normal Vagabond run, making good choices and trying to win as much as possible. I just felt like playing a normal run today, and Vagabond's a character I really like that I haven't played in a while, hasn't come up in my Random Times 3 series, so I thought I would just jump in and try to win with the Vagabond. I will also talk through how to play this character to its maximum potential, so if you're newer to the game and looking for a guide to win with this character, this will work for that as well. The Vagabond has a bunch of defensive penalties and economic penalties, can't equip two of the same weapon, but you get the full benefits of every weapon class, regardless of how many weapons from that class that you have. So if you have a cacti club and then no other primitive or heavy weapons, once you get 6 weapons, it will give you the full bonuses of those weapon tags as though you had all 6 in that weapon class. There's 3, I think, possible good starting weapons for the Vagabond. A few more, but 3 that I think you're usually going to focus on. Cacti Club gives primitive and heavy, really good weapon tags, and heavy can be hard to get otherwise. Claw gives unarmed and precise, which is pretty important, and Loot gives musical and support, which can help snowball your early game economy. We're going to go with Loot because this just makes it much easier to get money in the early game. Playing on Abyssal Terrors as well, slightly more difficult map. Here, of course, in the early game, our goal is just to maximize our farm on the number of units that we can get. You can get a maximum of 56 materials on the first wave unless a tree spawns. So we managed to hit as many enemies as you can get on the first wave of Abyssal Terrors. I could roll for harvesting or luck, but we're going to get some of that for free from our weapon tag, from the musical and support tags, and we only buy it at half value, so I'm just going to take an armor here. It's really important to offset the armor penalty on this character. And then, this is a pretty nice one. We got Medieval and Blunt from Spiky Shield. This is one of the sort of ideal weapons for you to get, because both Medieval and Blunt weapon tags are really good and will offset a lot of our defensive penalties. So we're going to pick that up immediately. And notice that when we did that, we got luck and harvesting as well, because the game sees our musical and support tags and gives us the benefits as though we had 2 weapons. Ethereal is another really important weapon tag. This will give us 30% dodge, which is incredibly powerful. And then if we combine that with unarmed and medieval, we end up with 51% dodge for free just from our weapon tags. So very happy to see a ghost axe as well. We'll lock a spiky shield and lock a tree. And then I'm not going to bother re-rolling because we're pretty happy with whatever weapon we get as our next weapon. So we don't need to roll for specific weapons here. Now, we do have a slightly low damage setup with these 3 weapons at the moment, so we are going to have a little bit more trouble clearing this wave than we might otherwise, but we shouldn't be in too much danger of dying or anything. Just trying to maximize our farm, doesn't matter if we take hits. Here, we do have negative speed, and we're going to keep getting negative speed because of the blunt weapon tag, but I think I can still just do better than 3% speed. I'll take 4 harvesting. Remember, we buy this at half rate, but when you get early harvesting, it can still be very powerful. I would like to buy new weapons. These we can level up, but we can't increase the number of weapons that we've got. But I'm still just going to buy the Spiky Shield and Loot upgrades, and then we're going to reroll, and Pruner gives support, which is a weapon tag that we don't need because we already have it from Loot. Quarterstaff gives primitive, which we do want, but doubles up on medieval. So we could get primitive and elemental from Torch. There are other good primitive weapon tags that we could get. Primitive and heavy from Cacti Club is kind of the ideal. So I think I will pass on the quarterstaff for now. I'm going to reroll one more time. I won't be able to buy a weapon after rerolling, so I'm going to go ahead and just buy the coupon here and then roll. Okay, and we'll take primitive and elemental from Torch. We'll probably sell the Torch and buy a Cacti Club if we see one, because we would rather have the heavy weapon tag than the elemental tag, but might as well just get 2 weapon tags. You want to, of course, get the maximum of 12 weapon tags. Each weapon can have up to 2, and we get 6 weapons, so we can have a maximum of 12. And the amount of stats that you get from that is pretty incredible once you have maxed out all of those stats. We actually even got a damage there from our Ghost Axe, which is kind of fun. Here, I'm just going to take an armor. We're going to need as much armor as we can get. You will have seen that we have negative armor, and that is impacting our character significantly. When we take damage, it's a lot of damage. I'm going to take 2 regen as well. I could also pick up melee damage, but I'm pretty happy just getting the regen. And then we will take a torch. Do I want the blade weapon tag? So it gives us melee damage and lifesteal. We might swap out the chopper later, but I want to get to 6 weapons as soon as possible. I don't need the revolver, though, so I think I can do better than that. I'll take the hand here, because the unarmed weapon tag is really important, though, again, this is one that we'll probably swap out later. But so currently we have ethereal, we have medieval and blunt, we have musical and support, we have primitive and elemental, and we have blade and unarmed. So we've managed to get 9 weapon tags, or 8. I could sit there counting, but I don't really feel like it. I don't really need to upgrade the torches, but it's only 15, so I probably will. We actually don't have any ranged weapons, so I'm not going to bother with sharp bullet. But now that we have the full set of 6 weapons, we're benefiting from our weapon classes as though we had 6 of each of those weapon classes. So the amount of free stats that we're getting is pretty immense. We've already got a ton of dodge. We'll be getting a decent amount of armor as well. So you really get a lot of free bonus stats if you manage your inventory correctly on this character. Here, I'll definitely take the duct tape. We want more armor. And I could buy harvesting at half rate. That would get it to 20. But because this character only gains harvesting at half rate, getting to 20 harvesting is much less important. I could also buy luck at half rate, but let's just take 2 armor here. Boosting our armor to positive is the thing that will impact our character's survivability the most. Roll here. Okay, so claw is better than hand here because it gives us the precise weapon tag, which is going to be a lot of critical hit. So we're going to go ahead and sell our hand and replace that with a claw. We have 46% dodge, so you can see we're almost at dodge cap despite having bought 0 dodge. And then we will lock the lure and the fishhook. Taser doesn't give us anything new. We're already getting support from the loot and elemental from the torch. And then I'm going to roll. Okay, and I will lock the cacti club. I'm happy to sell the torch and lose out on the elemental tag because, well, the 5 elemental damage is fine. That's not going to be a big part of our plan. And the bonus 25% damage from the heavy weapon tag is going to be awesome. You're going to end up with a very eclectic weapon set, no matter how you arrange it on this character, and I think that's the fun thing, trying to build the optimal weapon classes by selling and buying new weapons. The blade tag is definitely one that I'm not that excited about. I wouldn't mind medical, because that would get us regeneration, which is very good. I'm trying to think what other weapon tags I actually want here. Gun isn't terrible. 50 range is not bad. Oh, I wasn't able to get to the tree there. That's because our movement speed is at -10 from the blunt weapon tag, so I do need to fix that. That's kind of our next big thing. I'll take some armor here, and then attack speed is always good, so we'll take that as well. Obviously, a cursed lure is an incredible find. I'm going to go ahead and sell the torch and buy the cacti club, immediately boosting our percent damage. And then we're going to buy fishhook and lure. Do I want to lock the turret? I guess I would buy it if it got cursed, so I will lock the turret, and then I'll roll, and then I'm going to lock everything in this shop. Since we have fishhook, we want to lock as many items as possible to try to get them cursed. Yeah, I'm really not certain what the best weapon tag to replace blade with would be. Alright, there's our first loot alien. Because we're so slow, I really need to focus on chasing these guys down immediately when they spawn, because we're going to get a lot of spawns, and we move very slowly, so getting to them is going to be pretty hard. All right, 2 spawned at once, unfortunately, so we might not be able to kill all of them, but actually this one came back towards us very helpfully, so that was very nice of that loot alien to run back towards us, and we got 4 crates with our Cursed Lure. Cursed Lure, of course, is a ridiculous item to get. Oh, I wish we'd had that bag beforehand. It would have gotten us 60 materials. Take the baby elephant here and another baby elephant, and then we'll grab a penguin because we want as much regen as possible. And then we're going to take 3 armor. And you can see we're already really set up for becoming much more powerful. Now, unfortunately, our fishhook, classic fishhooks, did nothing here. I'll still buy the ghost axe. Do I want the tentacle? We have 2x crit damage, 1.5, 2, 2, 2, 2. So yeah, crit chance, and we have the precise weapon tag. So crit chance is pretty good on this character. We'll buy the tentacle, and I guess I'll buy the charcoal. It cost me 1 harvesting, but the melee damage is okay. Given that I've done that, I'm going to buy the turret. There's some synergies that we could potentially get with turret, so it's not amazing, but it's not terrible either. Here I'm going to buy another bag and lock the coffee. Spyglass I will lock because we have fishhook, and a cursed spyglass would be really nice. I might buy it even if it doesn't get cursed, but with a fishhook with 20% pity bonus, spyglass is going to be pretty good, and then we will lock the hedgehog and penguin and see if we can get some more things cursed. Still need to find a move speed upgrade. Probably when we hit level 10, I'm just going to roll until we get a +9 move speed, because I need to bring my move speed back to a normal value, especially before we fight an elite. Currently, our damage output and our defenses are not amazing, but we can fight an elite much better than it looks like we can because we have 46% dodge. So this character can much more easily stay alive against elites than you might think, given the state of the game, because we just got so much dodge for free. Making sure to kill these healer aliens. Our damage is a little low, so the healers do impact our ability to kill stuff. And with low movement speed, I need to try to stay near the middle of the map, so I'm not chasing off after enemies all the time. Each point of dodge that you get makes each future point more efficient in terms of increasing your effective health. So we're going to go ahead and take 6 dodge there, and we're almost at dodge cap. Here, I'm going to reroll, and I'm looking for movement speed. Attack speed is also really tempting, but we have a coffee locked in the shop, so I'm going to roll here. Take 3 armor as well, but minus 12 movement speed is basically unplayable. I am going to take 9 dodge, though. That just gets us over dodge cap, which is great, and we will still have time to fix our movement speed before we play against the elite. I will take the spyglass here. Only 1 item got cursed, but at least the fishhook did something, and of these items, the spyglass is the one I most wanted cursed. And then I will buy the hedgehog, get another free reroll. We'll lock a cacti club, lock a shady potion. Okay, so sword gives us blade and medieval. We currently have medieval from the spiky shield. Sword is probably still better than chopper if we want the blade tag anyways. So I think I will lock it, because if we got a cursed sword, I would buy it. I could also lock this ghost flint and try to get that cursed as well. But I think we'll just keep 3 items locked here. And one of the things I really like about this character is you get to swap weapons pretty frequently during the game. Normally in Brotato, you just stick with 1 weapon throughout the entire game and just buy only copies of that weapon when you see it. But the Vagabond is really fun because you get to change what weapons you're using depending on what shows up in the shop and sort of what the optimal tag setup for you at the current moment is. The most important ones to get are Ethereal and Unarmed, because those just give you a ton of dodge, and medieval goes really well with those, so I would recommend prioritizing those weapon tags, but anything that you can find gives you some pretty nice advantages. I will need to get a little more damage output, though, before we fight the elite, because I would like to kill it. Here, I'm just going to take 6 melee damage for that reason. We have a lot of melee weapons, so boosting our melee damage is good. Classic, once again, we have not gotten any bonuses from our fishhook. So do I want... So, Shady Potion didn't get cursed, and we only buy luck at half rate. It would also cost me 2 regen, so do I want 10 luck for 84? it's probably still worth it. So we will buy that. And I'm going to upgrade the Cacti Club. Do I want the sword? It doubles up on a weapon tag. It's a possibility that I could swap out the spiky shield for a different blunt weapon at some point. So I think I will just buy the sword. It's going to do way more damage than the chopper. And then we'll re-roll here. Spoon is a blunt weapon. So I could actually sell the spiky shield. We would not lose any weapon tags, because sword gives us blade and medieval. And spoon will replace it with blunt. So we can get a cursed spoon, which is pretty nice. And then maybe I can swap back to a torch to give the spoon the automatic critical hits. I'm also going to lock this Cacti Club. We can maybe get that cursed. And we'll just go ahead and buy a claw tree. Glasses, even if it got cursed, I probably wouldn't buy it, so I'm not going to lock it here. Trying to kill that cursed spawner before it makes too many units. So now, since we're going to buy the spoon, if I find a scared sausage or an incendiary turret, it's really powerful to go with that. And we could maybe swap back to an elemental weapon, some kind of burning weapon, in order to set up the automatic criticals on our cursed spoon, which would be a way to boost our damage output a lot, especially against single targets like an elite that we really want to kill. We've managed to get a decent amount of curse, even though our fishhook is not really putting in the hours. Okay, great. We got a +9 move speed. I knew we would find one of these eventually, but I was starting to get a little concerned because we hadn't yet. Fishhook now up to a 20% pity bonus again. We've got another fishhook, but let's go ahead and do what we talked about doing. So we're going to sell the spiky shield. It's dealing okay damage. It's about even with my other weapons, but I think selling it and replacing the blunt weapon with a cursed weapon is going to be better. I'll upgrade our Cacti Club, and we'll buy another fishhook and a coffee, and then roll. Adrenaline is really good. We have maximum dodge. I could try to get it cursed. Scissors is also interesting. So this would give us the medical weapon tag. We currently have precise from claw, but I can't sell the claw because it would cost me the unarmed tag. So I think we're just going to roll past the scissors here. Jousting Lance is another source of medieval if I wanted that. Icicle could give me elemental and precise, but I think we're just going to lock the scar and then roll again. Medical gun, also interesting. Medical and gun are two tags that we don't have. I don't really want to give up any of the tags that we do have, though. So I think, again, we're going to pass on the medical guns. We have double fishhook, so we're going to keep the scar and defective steroids locked. Those should be a lot of stats. And now we move a little faster, which is really nice. Always feels so bad when you move that slow. Costs you money and just makes you feel like you're sort of wading through molasses. The blunt weapon tag is still very much worth it for this character, but the penalty is real and you do need to offset it. It is interesting that there is no weapon tag that gives bonus move speed. I wonder kind of if there's a design reason for that, or if they just didn't happen to, you know, come up with one that they were happy with as a concept. The Cacti Club is actually pretty nice with the Blade weapon tag, because we get lifesteal from Blade, and then Cacti Club fires the Thorns, which give us a lot of chances to proc the lifesteal, so that's a pretty nice combination. Okay, an Incendiary Turret is great. We're very happy with that because we have Spoon as one of our weapons. The burning from Incendiary Turret does count for the automatic critical hits from the Spoon, so we're going to deal a ton of critical hit damage with that weapon. Here I could take the level 3 damage upgrade or get some move speed. I think I'm just going to take the high level upgrade, and then we'll take 2 armor here. Another Incendiary Turret, less important, but I think I will still buy another one. And we finally got another cursed item. Roll here. We can upgrade our claws. Rock. So this would let me replace either Blunt from the Spoon or Cacti Club. Don't think there's anything that's particularly beneficial with grabbing rocks here. Rock is a weapon that you often want on the Vagabond, though, because it gives you 2 really powerful weapon tags and additional armor and HP as you level it up. So it's just a really nice package for this character to buy defensive stats, which is the thing that you mostly need. We'll upgrade our claw, though. We'll buy us sunglasses, although it does cost me armor. Crit chance is still really good for us. And then we'll roll here, and definitely take a fertilizer. And even at half rate, the extra harvesting is still really good. We'll lock a barnacle, and I'm going to roll here. Scared sausage, probably worth buying. We don't have the elemental tag anymore, but it's still pretty nice. And then we can buy a corrupted shard and leave these 2 locked and maybe get one of them cursed. If we get the barnacle cursed, it's going to be a ton of stats as well, especially because we already have a cursed scar. Although that was, I think, basically a maximum low roll on the scar. 30%. When you get a cursed scar, it can have up to, I think, 42% bonus XP on it. So I think we rolled as low as possible on that cursed scar. You see we're getting a decent number of critical hits. Some of them are automatic ones from the incendiary turrets and the spoon. Some of them are just because we've bought a bunch of crit chance. We have a lot of healing as well between the cute monkey, the adrenaline, and the tentacle. So even though our regen isn't great, our actual healing output is pretty good. So I'm fine just tanking damage like this, just to try to maximize my income. Here, yeah, we'll take a coupon. I've already got over dodge cap. This is level 15, so I'm going to roll here. I'm looking for movement speed. I really want to get positive movement speed before we fight the elite next wave. So we're going to spend a little bit on rolling, and we found 9 movement speed, which is perfect. Heavy and explosive on the rocket launcher. So if I found a different primitive weapon tag, then I could replace the cacti club with the rocket launcher. I don't think it's actually really good for this character. I am very happy to get the Cursed Barnacle and Cursed Scared Sausage. So I think we'll pass on the rocket launcher. I'm going to roll here. I'll buy a Corrupted Shard. Although I have the Scared Sausage and double Incendiary Turret, we don't need to spend money on the snake here. I'm going to roll. Crossbow gives Precise and Medieval. Also pretty interesting for this character, but the damage output's really low. We don't want to buy range. We don't have the gun weapon tag in this version of the build. So I'm going to roll again. I'll lock a snail, and I'm going to roll one more time. Slingshot is also a good way to get primitive, but I think also with 17, at the cost of 17, I'm not going to reroll one slot. I've been rerolling really aggressively because we have double fish hook, so we want to lock items, and we have a Cursed Spyglass, so our rerolls are cheaper. Definitely want to try to kill the boss here. With our Cursed Spoon and sources of burning damage, we should kill it very quickly because our damage output is really low, really high. So because we've gotten all these free stats, we were able to just clear the elite very safely. And our defensive stats are really good. Our healing could use a boost. I wouldn't mind more regeneration. But we're at 60 dodge and positive armor, so it's very hard for us to die at this point in the run. Usually you want to leave the red crate on the ground. I picked it up there kind of by accident, but you should leave it on the ground because it gives you 100 healing. So when you take a bunch of damage, you can use it to kind of full heal. We have no explosive weapons at all, so we're just going to recycle the explosive shells. A little unfortunate, but that's how it goes. And then we will take 9 speed here, going up to 15 speed. Now, Crown is a lot worse for this character because we gain harvesting at half rate. So buying the Crown doesn't seem that efficient, but I'm going to do it anyways because you can't be the king of Brotato without a Crown. And Goblet, we do lose more regen, but it's some more healing. I think what I'm going to do is buy the Snail. I was hoping to get this cursed, but I would prefer to try to get the Goblet cursed. And then we're going to roll, buy a Lure, lock a Pocket Factory, and roll again. roll one more time. Capping my max HP at 51, that's pretty low, but honestly, I don't really care about my max HP that much, so I think I'm going to lock the handcuffs. We'll get like 1 HP level up, and then we'll have 60 health, and that'll be totally fine. Do I want to try to lock the eye patch for another critical hit boost? Probably not. $50 HP is obviously low, but on Abyssal Terrors, I'm often happy with 60 HP. You really want defensive stats like dodge, armor, and regeneration more than you care about maximum HP on this map, because enemies just do so much damage. Trying to tank through it just with sheer health is very difficult, so you want mitigation stats more. And the fact that we've already got 60% dodge makes me feel a lot better about capping my HP fairly low. Because we just have tons of defenses. Killed that loot alien there, so got another pile of crates. There is a tree in the top right, but I was going to have to give up quite a lot of enemy kills to go get it. All right. Jelly, obviously, amazing for the Vagabond, because it gives us plus 6 HP, and we need that because we're going to cap our HP. I'll take the Boxing Glove and Broken Mouth. All right, well, now we're at 63, so I'm totally happy capping my HP here. I'm going to reroll. I'm looking for level 3 level ups if I can get them. Since we have the Barnacle, higher levels are just worth so much more, because it is multiplying a higher base number. That said, I'm just going to take 4 regen, because regen is really good. And then we will buy the handcuffs here. This should give me enough extra damage that we can kill the elite really fast. I'm going to take Pocket Factory, even not cursed. Glass Cannon, I think I'll just buy as well. It does take us down to 3 armor, but I want to kill the boss really fast, so just increasing our damage output as much as possible is the most important thing to do that. This is a pretty tough boss, but between our additional damage that we just bought and the fact that we have a loot to debuff it and do more damage to it, we should kill it really quickly. That's another reason I really like loot on this character, is having 1 loot just makes it so much faster to kill elites. Because the stacking debuff effectively doubles your damage against them. We're continuing to get pretty unlucky on the fishhook rolls, though. What else is new? We have tons of curse, so a black flag would be an amazing find. Losing, so we would only get 31 luck from this, because we only buy luck at half rate. But I think losing 2 armor for 30 luck is still good for this character. Recycle the Toxic Sludge. Here I'm just going to take... Ooh, I want the attack speed as well, but my regen is terrible. So let's just take 6 regeneration here. And then the Cursed Frozen Heart is really nice. Burning Activating Slower is actually good for our spoon, because it... enemies will be burning for longer, so we'll get the automatic crit sooner. And the elemental damage will actually make our Scared Sausage damage pretty relevant, and of course we want the crit chance as well. And it just boosts the damage of our weapons. When you have a kind of weird weapon set like this, where the damage output is somewhat random, getting items like Frozen Heart that increase the damage independent of the actual weapon stats are pretty nice. We're just floating this goblet from wave to wave over and over. I can buy the alloy, even if it doesn't get cursed, we'll still be at dodge cap, and all of those damage stats are good, but again, we're hoping it does get cursed. You can see how difficult it is, and this is why people struggle with this character, is you get lots of base stats, and you have to make those work for you, because your economy is harmed significantly by buying luck and harvesting at half rate. Now, obviously, we've made a couple plays that are... making that penalty more severe. Like, normally you wouldn't buy the crown on this character, I just did it for fun. But that's why people sometimes have trouble with the Vagabond, I think, because you can get in a situation where if you are not leveraging the extra stats that you get from weapon classes properly, you just don't have the damage output or economy to survive in the end game. So you need to be pretty careful with how you approach leveling up the character and make sure you're using the character's bonus to the maximum effect. I'll take a coil here. We have positive knockback, and yeah, attack speed is one of the things we need most. So crystal is a really nice find. Or reroll. I don't need to take max HP. Let's roll again. I guess I'll just take 7 crit chance here. Got the alloy cursed, so we'll buy that. And I guess once again we're floating the goblet. At this point, I'm actually just not going to buy the goblet. Our healing I was more interested in it when we had more need of healing, but we've actually managed to get a bunch of healing. So kind of irritating to float the goblet for a bunch of turns and then not buy it, but that just happens sometimes. All right, nice. We got a fairy. If it gets cursed, it'll be awesome. Upgrading to our sword to a cursed sword of a higher level is going to increase our damage immensely. And one nice thing about the Vagabond, too, is that when you find weapons like sword or power fist or things like that, you're really well set up to use them, because you can almost certainly just replace something else with one of those weapons for a tremendous profit. Our defenses are really good, although I do need more armor, because I've reduced my armor a fair bit over the last few waves. But we're level 20 here, so I think we can get 5 armor because of the barnacle from a level 3 armor level up. So I'm probably just going to roll for that and just fix our armor using the barnacle stats here. Decomposing flesh, yeah, we don't care about increasing our HP. We'll get a few more levels, and the lifesteal is pretty relevant. I could take 6 regen, but yeah, 1 armor is too low, so I'm going to roll and look for armor here. I'll roll again. Okay, it's only 4 armor, but still worth grabbing for sure. Nice, we got the fairy cursed, so that completely solves our regen issues. And we'll buy the head injury as well. Do I want the lost duck? I guess I would buy it if it got cursed. It's worth 1 regen with the fairy, and the luck is relevant, so let's lock it. With 2 fish hooks, you're just so incentivized to lock items. Anytime you get an item cursed, it's basically like getting a second copy of that item. So every time you lock an item with a fish hook, it's sort of like buying 1/5 of an item. Or in the case of 2 fish hooks, 2/5 of an item. We're actually getting a decent amount of extra damage from the Ghost Axe as well. So we're HP capped, so we can't use the acid here. Another lure I'll happily take. Do I want 18% damage or 15 attack speed? I'm actually going to take the attack speed. Our percent damage is really good, and our attack speed is really bad, so I want to make sure that I'm boosting that. Take the Lost Duck here. It's only 7 luck, or 7.5 luck, but Curse is really good. Worth a regen as well. No need for Spiky Shield or Torch here. I could... Yeah, no, because we don't have another source of the heavy weapon tag, so I don't want to sell the Cacti Club. I could sell out of Primitive at some point, because we're over our HP cap anyways, so we don't need the 15 HP from Primitive as much. So if I get another good heavy weapon, I'll probably sell out of the Cacti Club and swap to that, whatever that is. Okay, second Cursed Spyglass is great. We'll buy another Fishhook as well. Mutation, the elemental damage, it would cost me some knockback. I don't think we need the elemental damage, so let's re-roll that. Pick a Gentle Alien and a Dangerous Bunny here. I'm going to lock the Rip and Tear. This is mostly just for fun, just because it does do a lot of damage, and maybe we get it cursed. And let's roll again. I'll lock a loot here. We could potentially curse that and upgrade our existing loot. That will let us debuff the bosses more. And then we'll roll one more time. Sure, I'll take a landmines just for the regen. Gets us to 69 regen, so perfect numbers. Instantly took a hit and lost my bonus attack speed from the crystal, but we have lots of dodge, so our crystal is going to be fairly efficient, even if my movement is bad, as it has been so far this wave. Fortunately, we're so tanky that I can play very lazy and still succeed pretty easily. I do need to get additional armor, though. Because when I do take a hit, even though we have 60 dodge, so we're not taking hits that often, and our regen is amazing. When we do take a hit, it's a fair proportion of our health, especially with a lot of cursed enemies running around. So having additional dodge, yeah, so you see there we took 22 damage, which is a third of our health. So having additional armor will help cut down the slight possibility that I walk into 3 enemy attacks in a row and just die outright. I will take the med kit here. It does cost me 3 regen from the fairy, but it gives us 10 regen back, and of course the extra regeneration there. Too late for the wheelbarrow to be good. Feather, yeah, I'll spend an XP gain. We basically get 1 regen and a little bit more leeway on our dodge cap. It can be useful to buy stats over cap, even though you're over the cap, because that lets you buy items that decrease your dodge without worrying about it. Mutation for 1 regen, we lose 3% damage because we have a coil, so the -3 knockback is -3 damage. But the elemental damage is we get 1/14, or we get 0.14 of a damage on each of our weapons from the Frozen Heart. If you've been wondering, a lot of the time I'll get comments like, "Why didn't you buy this elemental item when you had Frozen Heart?" But I suggest doing the math on those, because I often see people suggesting that I buy items that would give me like less than 1/10 of a damage or something. Because it does scale with 14% of our elemental damage doesn't mean we should spend money on that. That's very small scaling. I'm gonna, of course, sell out of this loot to rebuy it, and then we'll pick up a Rip and Tear here. -2% crit chance for the Rip and Tear effect is pretty good. Do I want a glass cannon? Our percent damage is pretty high and our armor is very low, so I think we're actually going to pass on the glass cannon. Doesn't do much that we need at this point. Chopper is another blade weapon, but I will take a charcoal, and I'm going to roll again here. Peaceful Bee is worth a regen. Whistle, too late for that to matter. Coupon is probably too late for that to matter as well. So I think I'm just going to reroll here. And I guess Gentle Alien is extra damage. Muscly Dude is extra melee damage. I could swap the Cacti Club for the Rocket Launcher. It's actually lower damage output, though, so I don't think we want the Rocket Launcher. I'm just going to keep the Cacti Club. Let's go ahead and lock these two, because cursed, they're just pretty big increases to our damage. And then we'll lock the spoon to upgrade our cursed spoon, which will be a really nice boost. Wave 19, there's a lot of enemies this wave, because we've actually increased the number of enemy spawns pretty significantly, but that's great for us, because we just kill everything instantly. So, making a lot of extra money here. I wouldn't have minded some additional pickup radius. That could have been helpful for this character. It's something we're missing. I passed an alien tongue, I think, at some point, but usually I'm still not a huge fan of buying that item in general, unless we have a specific reason for it. Because it just doesn't increase your ability to kill stuff, which is what, or survive damage, which is what matters in this game. I think the alien eyes here for a little bit of extra damage output, and The propeller hat, sure, I'll take it for the regen mostly. Reroll here and reroll again. 30% attack speed, perfect when going into the boss fight. No cursed, no curse from our triple fish hook. 45% pity bonus there. Do I want 3 melee damage? Extra enemies on the field is actually good for us in the boss fight. You might think you don't want to buy items like that going into a boss wave. But extra enemies on the field, we have 12% lifesteal, so it's more healing from that. We have 90 luck, so we're likely to drop consumables, and we have 3 consumable healing. So each consumable heals us for 6. More enemies is actually going to be better at keeping us alive than reducing the number of enemies. We actually survive better the more enemies there are on the field. Little Muscly Dude is just 3 melee damage, but I guess I'll just take it in the Alien Eyes for some extra burst here. We'll upgrade our Claw. That's a nice upgrade. Fireball is explosive and elemental. Okay, well, Silver Bullet obviously makes it much easier to kill the bosses, and Lemonade will give us some additional HP. Let's reroll just for fun here. We've got Bean Teacher would have been nice earlier. Celery Tea would have been nice earlier, but we're very happy with where we landed. Look at our stats. They're all extremely high, except for armor, which is a little low. I would have definitely liked more armor on this character. I'm glad I didn't buy the second glass cannon, because we ended up with only 5 armor, which is definitely low. 5 armor and 63 HP. I have to be a little more careful than you normally would going into this boss fight, just because if I get hit 3 times in a row before I heal up, there was a chance I could die there, but our damage is so high that we were able to kill the enemies before there was any real opportunity for that to happen. Alright, so taking a look at our items, obviously we're getting a huge amount of stats from this. So we're getting 30 dodge, plus 15 dodge, plus from the medieval tag, 6 more dodge. So 51 bonus dodge just from that. Then we're also getting 3 armor from the medieval tag, and from the blunt tag, we're getting 3 more armor. So we're at minus 4 armor on net because we lose 5 from ethereal and we start with minus 5. That's why our armor ended up kind of low, because we weren't able to buy as much, but still you get a lot of defensive stats. In addition to that, we have Precise for 15 crit chance, economy stats from musical and support, and some extra melee damage and lifesteal from Blade, as well as some extra HP and damage from Primitive and Heavy. We ended up saving 527 with our coupons, 99 healing from the one cute monkey, Fishhook embarrassed itself as usual, Bag gave us 630 extra materials, and Baby Elephant 42k damage, actually better than I thought this would do. I only picked these up because they showed up in boxes, of course, but we ended up with way more luck than you usually would on the Vagabond, so the Baby Elephant's actually kind of overperformed. 103 healing from the tentacles, 284 savings on the spyglasses, so not amazing, but definitely paid for themselves, and let us get a lot more chances to lock things with Fishhook, so that the Fishhook could then not curse anything, as usual. 71 healing on Adrenaline, and 18k damage on Incendiary Turret, also not terrible. The Pocket Factory and our turret dealt 14k, so not amazing, but I do just like that item. Treasure Map was really bad here, only 1 extra item, and Baby Squid, we didn't end up getting that many levels, so the Baby Squid and Decomposing Flesh didn't do that much, but they were still worth buying. Overall, just a very solid Vagabond run, which is what I was hoping to do. So hopefully this helps you if you've been struggling with the character. And basically, those are the important weapon tags. Try to arrange it so you have as many stats as possible, and then just get as strong as you can with lots of dodge and armor. Alright, my friends, hope that you've enjoyed this run. And of course, if you have, feel free to leave a comment and hit like. Helps me out with the algorithm, so I appreciate you taking the time to do that. And of course, you can subscribe to my channel for more Brotato and other strategy game analysis. Cheers, my friends. I'll catch you next time.